special love to set the mood. Hearts and hearts that we must choose. So I'm killing bourbon for my blues. Times are tough and love is rare. With a broken heart, with an empty stare. Inspiration, what it takes. Liquid love to break the hate. I need a home where I get in. From a saint I turn to sin. My sorrows drown, I drink it down. How many days I'm giving praise. I need bourbon for my blues. The only way to win is lose. A poison hearts that we must choose. So I'm killing bourbon for my blues. Wreck my dreams, wreck my life. Wreck my body, lose my wife. Price I pay to sing the saddest song. Bleeding hearts bleeding out until it's all long gone. There's a demon, she is tempting me. Gives me a thirst so desperately. And now I just can't seem to stop this train. I crash myself into a river of pain. I need bourbon for my blues. A special love to set the mood. Poison hearts that we must choose. So I'm killing bourbon for my blues. I need bourbon for my blues. If I drink enough, I'll make the news. For this guitar I will abuse. I think it's time to turn me loose.
Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Off the Cuff on the Bluff. Another edition of Off the Cuff on the Bluff. It's your host, Dean Franklin. That's me. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. hopefully no more cold weather and no more of that weird ice, snow, sleet stuff for sure. Tonight's guest is Damon Curry Morris. He's running for the District 9 seat for the Memphis City MSCS, Memphis County City and Shelby County School System. I might need some more water here. Damon ran for Memphis City Council Super District 8, Position 3 in October 5th of 2023. He's also run for the Shelby County School Board elections in District 9 back in 2014. His biography and election records notes a bachelor's degree from Lemoyne College and work experience as a certified nonprofit professional, an educator in Memphis City schools, and a customer service agent. And he's also told me that he homeschools as well. He is wanting to make the schools better for both the parents and the kids, especially for the kids. And I'm not for sure for everybody that's watching. They were holding a school board meeting, and I was in attendance for several of those, mostly at the Shelby County Commission, and met him there one day. Also tried to get in one day and stood in line for 2 hours at the Shelby County School Board, MSCS School Board, and waited and waited and waited. And then when they started letting people in, that just came right through the front door. So I didn't get in. Several other people did. Damon was one of them that got in and got up in front of the school board, started speaking. And I, from what I hear, after his 3 minutes, he continued to speak, as we all would, because he's very passionate about this particular situation and what all's going on with Dr. Marie Fagans. So I think it was Joyce Coleman. He can correct me if I'm wrong when I bring him on. Asked security to take him out. Well, they didn't just escort the gentleman out, they drug him out. And that's no way to treat any person. I mean, he wasn't a threat to anybody. All he was doing was, exercising his First Amendment rights, which we're all should be able to do freely. So without further ado, let me bring Mr. Damon on. Good evening, Damon.
Hey, Dean, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well, considering the circumstances that we're going on. We're getting into a real tumultuous election season.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, you were correct about the things that you were saying about. I do want to clarify the situation that happened when I was drug out of the school board. There was a lot that happened as you and I discussed offline. There was a lot that happened prior to that happening. I mean, it was years in the making before that was happened. And I clarified to the community on today on my Facebook page that had been a fight that that we have been raging for a long time. We have spent an inordinate amount of money on personal issues in the school board.
Yes, sir.
I mean, from lawsuits to paying superintendents, paying consultants, things of that nature. And it's interesting that a student asked me the other day, that he didn't even, what was I going to do about the lack of resources that he had for his CCTE program? And when we look at the district and we look at the budget, which is the main role of a school board member, hire and fire superintendent, and pass a budget. Okay, that is the main thing. But the role of the school board now has divulged due to a lot of politicizing of the school board. And we're not going to get into a conversation about Democrat and Republican here, because it's on both sides, you know. And the original thing, when the Dr. Marie Fagan's situation happened, I was on the other side of town at a city council meeting. After the School Board 5, and for those who don't know about that situation, and well publicized about us getting issued AOAs and kicked out of the school board and things like that, lawsuit has been settled. All of that. I just had a conversation with a district employee on camera about that the other day. Okay. You know, that was a process. That was a process for fairness. That was a process for the community, which is what I, working with school board members for over 30 years, that is what I come to know the school board to be. Those things that the school board should be a community service agency for the betterment of the children. But somehow we have gotten to a point where education has become so politicized till the fact that the children are not the focus, the students are not the focus, the parents are not the focus, the teachers are not the focus, the employees, the building engineers, the list goes on and on about how the focus has shifted. You know, it has come out the realm of just passing a budget. It has come out the realm of just curriculum. It has come out the realm of things. We're embossed in contracts, affairs, you know, things that the distraction. Let me bring it home for you, Dean.
Sure.
When Dr. Ray, when they were charged, when the former Board of Education was charged with the situation with Dr. George Ray, who was the former superintendent before Tony Williams and before Dr. Marie Fagan's. When that situation went on that triggered the search and all of how we got to where we are today, I stated at that school board meeting on that night that all of this is a distraction. Go and look it up. I said everything is a distraction. All of this is a distraction. So now this is what we have divulged in, and the school district as it sits right now is not doing what is best for children.
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's obvious with all the, I mean, you know, I'm a member of the Next is Now page and got involved in that heavily. I don't post there all the time, but I do read some things, and the things that several people, and I wished I'd saved some of these names and everything, but the stuff with Tawana, I mean, there's constant posting about her activities outside the school board, constantly on Next is Now. Some of it is probably, you know, I mean, she's doing this stuff off the clock and everything else, and this, that, and the other, whatever. And we all have our good times and everything else. But I've also seen posts where people have posted the things that she said about yourself, about others, and it's just, people will say, let her speak, let her dig it deeper, let her dig it deeper.
And to your point, Dean, let me explain about board member Tawana Murphy. Board member Tawana Murphy, I still say, is a close friend of mine.
Yes.
Okay. When Frank Johnson dropped out of the race for District 7, I lent all of my expertise and all of my help to Tawana Murphy to win that seat. Let's be clear about how that happened.
Okay.
Okay. And she might say otherwise. One thing I don't do is I don't argue with people. You know, I put things out in the public for people to understand.
Right.
Okay. There are things that I know that, and everybody can see you, well, this is bashing, that is bashing, that's not bashing, because I deal in the truth. I deal in what happened. You know, I've had a situation pop over here recently with board member Murphy, but I say that to say this. I have been out in my district knocking on doors and talking to people,
Yes,
all walks of life. Rich, poor, white, black, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. Okay? These people have invited me into their homes.
yes,
And
sir.
I will say on two ends of the spectrum, which MSCS District 9 is very unique as to the neighborhoods that it represents. And I've known that since the district was created, which you just alluded to that I ran for when
Yes,
it was
sir.
first created. District 9, and I just want to tell the story of two people that we will see on two totally different ends of the spectrum, so to speak, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
I was in Colonial Acres on last week. A white lady, invited me into her home, and she gave me tea. And the first thing that she asked me,
was it sweet iced tea?
No, it wasn't iced tea. It was hot tea, because that's all most of what I drink.
Okay. Okay.
And the first thing that she asked me, she invited me into her home, and she said, "I know exactly who you are." And she said, "I got one question for you." She said, "What are y'all going to do about Tawana Murphy?" So I said that was really profound. And I went back to one of my neighbors, and over on my side of town where I live in Orange Mound, everybody knows. And I knocked on the door, and I asked the lady, I said, "I'm just coming to tell you, I'm officially running for school board, yada, yada, yada."
Yes, sir.
So that's the same question that lady asked me. She said, "What are y'all going to do about Tawana Murphy?"
Right.
And that lets you know how this current school board is not listening to its constituency.
Right.
Okay. Most of, and we talked about this off camera, Dean, most of the legislation that is coming through here for that school board is solely based on the actions of board member Murphy. Now, we can go into the weeds and we can say, well, the state has been trying to take over the school board for years. Some of that is true. But what you don't want to do, and this is coming from a lot of legislators that I talk to, Democrat and Republican, is continuously pour gas on that fire.
Right.
Okay. And what happened, we can argue about Dr. Marie Fagans all day long. From Dr. Fagan to things that happened afterwards and that was revealed, it was constantly pouring gas on that fire. I'm hearing this walking through the halls of the legislature in Nashville last year. Okay. I'm listening to this. I'm calling board members on the phone. Look, y'all got to get it together. These folks are coming.
Right.
And people let you know, even on my Facebook, even on my platform, I'm saying they're coming, y'all. They coming. But they turned into something negative. Okay. But we have to see it this way, Dean. We have to see it this way. What I asked the school board to do when they first came out at the special call meeting with Dr. Fagans, I was at the city council meeting that night. Oh, okay. It was constituents that begged me to come to that meeting. And when it was all said and done, if people would tell the truth, I talked to every single board member with the exception of board member Murphy herself, board member Natalie McKinney, and board member Keith Williams. All the rest of them I talked to, I said, look, go into your corners, get in your districts. I said, we got to have a calm down. Okay, this is going to be ugly. And I said, you all need to understand that the passion of this community is about to come out. I didn't know what the charges were, Dean. Yes, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have anything, but I said, we need a cool down period. And you need to go into your individual districts and you need to make sure that the public has an understanding of why you all decision that you are making, because the red flags are up and you all need to understand.
Okay.
Most of the board members chose not to do that. It was only 2 board members that chose, Sable Lotte and Tamarcus Porter. And I called my board member, and my board member was who is the current board member in District 9, Joyce Coleman. She was very, very nasty. She accused us of trying to hang her. She accused us of trying to throw her up under the bus. I mean, she cried on the phone, everything else. And, I just couldn't take it anymore. And I got off the line. Okay. And I said, if we're going to do this, I told the constituency of District 9, if we're going to do this, we're going to have to do it on our own. And that's what prompted the town hall meeting.
Okay.
That's what prompted the legislation that we worked with State Representative G.A. Hardaway for a recall of the school board. That's right. What the community asked for in the first place. That's what they asked for.
Well, I mean, it's everything is we the people. I mean, we're the ones that have the voice. We're the ones that employ our representatives and commissioners, and a lot of the times, I don't know about you, but a lot of times I feel like they think that we work for them and not the other way around. And so, go ahead.
And me, I cannot disagree with that, Dean. I can't, because of my experiences with government across this county. I cannot disagree with that. And let's be fair. It's not about everything that you want as an individual, but you will get some of my critics that will say, well, you went up there and you lobbied for the state intervention. I did not do that, because originally I said I didn't want the intervention. Right. But when I went and met with legislators, Democrat and Republican, I was privy to 11,000 emails from parents, from teachers, and administrators.
Right.
That will sent to Representative Mark White.
Wow.
I sat there and I read them. Okay, so we have to understand there are 2 sides to this. Okay, so when you're talking about calming somebody down, stabilizing something, you have to understand these hurt feelings, these hurt parents. I've talked to parents who have actually taken their children out of this state because of the Memphis Shelby County School Board.
Wow. Out of the state?
Yes. They have taken, because of this educational system that we have, I have talked to parents that have taken their children out of the state. We cannot continue this school board the way that it is. Okay. Do I agree with some of the things that are in the intervention bill? No, I do not. But as a elected official, as you just said, you have to see both sides of the issue. What is the majority saying? And let me bring this point home. When they appointed Rod Richmond the other night, did you not hear one of the board members said that over 50% of the teachers were not in favor of them appointing Dr. Richmond? But so you appointed him. but you appointed him anyway.
So half the teachers in MSCS did not want him as a superintendent. Half.
Go back and watch the thing. I thought that was the most egregious thing I had ever heard. And as soon as that vote was passed, Dean, a teacher called me who said that she was conflicted about who to vote for in District 9, looking at the candidates that had already pulled petitions. But after that vote, she called me and I had to go meet her in a gas station parking lot. And she signed my petition. She said, I'm getting behind you because you're the only one that I'm comfortable with.
Right. Have you got enough petitions or whatever to run for that? I mean, not petitions, I'm sorry. Signatures. Have you got the allotted signatures you need yet?
Yes, my petition has been certified. It was the first one in the race to be certified. So I am officially now a candidate for Memphis Shelby County School Board District 9.
Good for you.
And I mean, those are the stories that the communities are not hearing. The crying out of my teeth. You ought to see my inbox. Teachers every day. I just got a call today from a teacher. An inbox from a teacher. They're saying that the functional skills teachers have to go retake the praxis exam. I had to explain to the community exactly what that was and what it entailed. And the functional,
Go ahead and explain it here because I don't know what it is.
Okay, so a praxis exam is I kind of equate it to like a teacher's licensure exam. Okay. A teacher's licensure exam. I misworded that. It's almost like when I went to take the LSAT to go to law school. You take the MCAT, right, to go to medical school. Okay. Yes. Sort of the kind of equivalent of that. Okay. You have to pass that test, or well, let me tell you, I don't want to say it doesn't go by pass fail. You have to make an acceptable score to get your teacher's license here in Memphis, in the state of Tennessee. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So most of the teachers that are currently teaching in Memphis and Shelby County schools are on a waiver. A waiver allows you time to pass this test. I just talked to a teacher the other day who she couldn't pass this test. That praxis test is very hard. Okay. And so when we're talking about functional skills, those are dealing with some of our most vulnerable students in Memphis and Shelby County schools. So we're looking at students that's not going to have certified teachers in a functional skills class. That is a big problem, Dean, because functional skills is a very, very vulnerable population. And to one of those, one of my degrees, and one of my certifications is that LSDA behind my name, Licensed Certified Disability Advocate. Okay. Which I worked in the the state of Tennessee DIDD program, which is the Tennessee DA program now, which I work with students with disabilities at various charter schools around Memphis and Shelby County. I even created CCTE programs for students over at Crosstown High School with a consortium with More Tech. Okay. So I know about this vulnerable population. I went around for a while. I still only have like 2 clients that are left in Memphis Shelby County schools. It's that I go and sit in IEP meetings for. That parents don't understand that IEP is something serious. There's a legal document. Okay, which is some of the knowledge that I tried to give board member Tawana Murphy. Okay, which is when you have a teacher inbox me that information that we're on the cusp of losing functional skills teachers. That's a problem for the most vulnerable population in Memphis and Shelby County schools. And these are children who have a wide range of disabilities. Okay, and that's really alarming that the board, allegedly, the board messed up some paperwork, which is why this audit is so important. They've messed up some paperwork where these teachers are going to have to go back and take that praxis test again.
Okay.
So one thing I want to make clear tonight is that this is not about making the district look bad. This is what I am a fan of true transparency.
Right.
And not let this stuff break the news. And then the parents are finding out later. Parents need to be notified now. I can tell you a whole story about the third grade retention law that you wouldn't believe. You know, it's a, like I told a group of young people this past Friday, the thing that people need to understand here in Memphis and Shelby County is that they need to understand how things work so we can move forward. I've had several board members call me this past week saying, well, we want to try to work with you. We want to try to work. I said, my intent was to work with you all in the beginning. Why are you calling me a year later saying that you want to work with me? Now, to Rod Richmond's credit, he did meet with me. And
Yes,
he
sir.
did say that he wanted to work with me. He even offered me a job. And I told him I don't want to work here anymore. Not here. So what we're embarking on this school board race, as far as I'm concerned, is I'm carrying the voices of the people who were ignored during this whole situation to the school board, because even I, myself, had high hopes for this board.
Right.
And the people need to know what happened that would make this board cause all of this conflict, chaos, and confusion. Because my God is not a God of confusion. And we have to understand at this particular point in time that we have these children who are on the line and at stake. Whether you're for the state intervention, whether you're not for the state intervention. What I asked the Board of Education for was with me having students that attend Memphis Shelby County schools, nieces, nephews, and grandchildren that attend Memphis Shelby County schools, I need a plan that will make me comfortable with sending my children to MSCS schools.
Right.
And that's a message that all parents are trying to convey to this school board.
Right. Let me interject here for a second. You know, I mean, it is all about the kids, and I really don't have a dog in this fight, but you know, as a taxpayer, I do, because you know, all taxpayers do. Memphis and Shelby County taxpayers have a dog in this fight. And it seems like all of these other people, these adults, are making it about themselves and not the kids. The kids are losing out on all this, period. Now, my son is 31 years old, just turned 31 years old on Valentine's Day. We lived,
all right.
we lived in, it wasn't quite, it was still the county. It hadn't been taken into Memphis yet, but they were talking about taking in Memphis at the time when we lived off of Highway 64 near Bartlett. And we'd heard that every school in DeSoto County was ACEs. And so when he was, I guess, 4 years old, we moved to DeSoto County in 1999, and he started going to DeSoto County schools. And the other things that I've heard about DeSoto County schools is they provide such good education that they were hiring private school teachers away from, I think it was, I I can't remember the name of that high school, but there was a private high school on Getwell, close to Getwell and Goodman. I'm trying to think of what it's called. I can't think of what it's called. But they were pulling teachers from that school, that private school, and paying them more than what they were making at private school.
Mm.
So, yeah, if you live in Memphis and Shelby County, you got a dog in this fight, and it's about the kids. It's not about the infighting with adults and politicians.
And I told a group of Dean, and I told a group of people that this weekend, I'm not worried about what the adults doing. I'm not at this point. We got to save these children. I have, and full transparency, I have a grandson that's in a charter school.
Okay.
Because now some of the discussions that I'm having with retired teachers, current teachers, current administrators, and things about this school district, the conversations that we're having is now education has divulged into you have to find the perfect fit for your child. I knew coming out of MSCS pre-K that my grandson was not fit to be in this school district as it is.
Right.
Okay. He's a pandemic baby. That's the reason why they call him the face of the third grade retention law, because he was the one that went up there and spoke for over 18,000 third graders in the state of Tennessee. Because when we're talking about common sense legislation, okay, the Memphis Shelby County School Board, and I can't not get on this platform, Dean, and let you all know how we got here. Okay, from that merger all the way here, because I will be totally transparent with the community. I was a proponent of the merger. I drank that Kool-Aid just like everybody else. And then when we went back and we found out we made a mistake, then they blamed it on the legislature, this, that, and the other. I said, but you all, our elected officials, are supposed to be smart enough to think this through. Well, we can't pass a law down here in Shelby County because they're just going to change it in Nashville. That may be true. Okay, but however, what are we doing? What are we doing to make sure that we put up a united front to get our own things and run our own things? Let me tell you something. My grandmother taught school for over 43 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in Legacy Memphis City Schools. I'm a product of Legacy Memphis City Schools. Okay, my children are products of Legacy Memphis City Schools. One of them Shelby County Schools because he just was on the cuff of the merger. But we have to understand that moving forward in this district is going to require an all hands on deck situation. Right. And I'm talking about from the city council to the county commission to I just had a conversation on a Facebook Live with my Shelby County commissioner, Brittany Thornton, and yes, and one of my Super District 8 representatives of city council, Yolanda Cooper Sutton, Councilwoman Cooper Sutton. And she explained to the youth on that Facebook Live that she had tried to bridge that gap between the city, the county, and the school board. Okay, because there's a disconnect. She was very honest about that. There's a disconnect. She said she went and got with Commissioner McWright about trying to bridge this gap. I've seen her at the school board meetings, trying to bridge this gap, because you can talk about putting program. We could have an A-class school district right now. Okay, but what are we releasing these children to? Where are the high-paying jobs here in Memphis and Shelby County? Right. What kind of community is being created for these children that are coming out, you know, they had aspirations in going into medicine, or have absolute aspirations into going to aviation, or having aspirations to do that. Yeah, you can get to school, you can get the knowledge in MSCS, but when you hit these streets, when you turn 18, and if you go off to college and everything like that, and people want you to come back home and build this economy, what does that look like?
Right. Now, did y'all, growing up when you were in school, did y'all have, like VOTEC at the schools? I mean, did y'all have anything like that in school? I mean, because I graduated from Brighton High School out in Tipton County. Now, when we moved back from Texas, I was born and raised here. When we moved back from Texas, I went to Scenic Hills. That was in 1972, 73. Went to Scenic Hills, and then my parents put me in private school. And then I went, after I left Harding, I went to Coleman Junior School, high school or whatever. Then went to Raleigh, Egypt for a couple of years. And everybody's probably in the background going, Raleigh who? That's okay. But, you know, there was a VOTEC. I mean, the guys from Brighton had to travel to Covington to get to it. But you mentioned something earlier about more tech. And I mean, really and truly, I mean, I am a sheet metal worker by trade. That's what I do. Okay. I build ornamental iron stair rails, balcony rails, furniture bases out of steel and everything else like that. But I started in the union. More tech offers different, I don't know if they offer technology stuff, but they do offer, you know, I think the electrician classes, they offer sheet metal, welding classes and stuff like that. And even a non-union job, and I was in the union, but a non-union job pays very well. You know, I mean, it pays very well. The VOTEC, I don't understand why a lot of people aren't steering their kids, especially if they got some kind of skill or this, that, and the other, toward that VOTEC area.
And let me say, like I said today, CCTE programs in Memphis and Shelby County School. Let me back up. I'm a graduate of Hamilton High School. If you don't know about Hamilton back in the day, Hamilton High School was a mecca for CCTE programs. We didn't have to leave that campus for anything.
Okay.
You know, one of the only dry cleaning programs in the whole city of Memphis. Okay, we had dry cleaning, auto mechanics, computer technology. It was, and that goes back to what I told the superintendent of schools currently now, Dr. Richmond. I told him about access, because as bad as everybody think Hamilton is now, Hamilton, back when I was going to Hamilton High School, was the school to be.
Right.
That school, the South Memphis was a metropolis back in the day. I'm a product of the optional. I have all kind of facets of experience as a student, as a teacher in that district, all kinds of things. So I'm a product of the optional program. Okay, I said, well, I told my grandmother I didn't want to go to Hamilton because Hamilton was, I didn't want to go back to South Memphis. I didn't want to go to, my grandmother said it's a tradition, even though my grandmother lived in Orange Mound, and never went to Melrose, 2580 Select Avenue. That's the Gwynn family home.
All right.
So, I went to Hamilton and I saw you had your pick of whatever. It wasn't, hey, you want to go to college? You got a college path. You want to go technical? You can path. Guess what? As much college as I got, I was on the dual path. I had computer technology as my VOTEC, and I had I was on the college class, AP classes, all of that stuff.
Right.
So the question comes up, where did all that go? We had No Child Left Behind. Okay. The focus started being not on academics, but the focus started being on numbers. Goes back to what I've said, Deem, about politicizing the educational system.
Right.
Okay. Which I'm not a fan of.
Right.
Okay. I don't care what side of the aisle you own. I'm not a fan of that. So through the years, I saw people coming through and programs being pushed out, money being lost, a misappropriation of funds. Let's add that in there. We can't leave that out.
Let me throw this question out to you because a good friend of mine, Kristen Roberts New, posted on in the chat. Can you see the chat? Can you see? I
can't.
You can or cannot?
Do I need to push this little button in the middle?
Yeah. Push it to where it pulls up the chat.
Okay.
And she and you can go ahead if you could read her question or whatever. She said, how did we have money for all of those things 30 years ago, but we don't have the funds for those programs now? Where's the money going? Follow the money.
And Kristen, I'm glad you asked that question, because that goes to the answer I gave a student that I mentioned earlier that inboxed me and asked me about the limited resources he has for his CCTE program. And here's the answer that I gave him. Now I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember what I wrote because it was a lot. And I told him, I said, to Dr. Fagan's credit, most of the community was asking that we get rid of the top-heavy central office. If you look at the salaries that some of those people were getting, they were doing jobs in the triplicates, okay? Now, this comes to your knowledge of budgeting when you come into the school board. Everything in that school board, everybody needs to go through that budget. I do it with the city budget. I do it with the county budget. When it comes out, I go get them 400 pages. I go through it line by line, okay? And I look to see what those wasteful spending things are, okay, in that order. So when Dr. Fagans came in, it was like people were getting paid $100,000, almost $200,000 to do the same job. It was 3 and 4 people. And those resources could have been sent back. Those are millions of dollars that could have been put into the classrooms. Now, we also have to take into account that there's a funding formula, and we have some schools that can't operate certain classes, because even I had an experience with that when I was in high school. AP calculus class. You have to have at least 5 students to be in the class. And we had to go recruit other seniors to go and take the class and get 5 students in that class so we could have an AP calculus class. And my principal at the time, Sonny Hicks, had told me, he explained to me, see, this comes to part of the knowledge that I have of the inner workings of this school system. Even as a youngster, my principal explained to me how the funding formula worked and why we couldn't have that class if we didn't have at least 5 students in that class. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So the district, to answer the question, as I told the young man, the district has become so top heavy again that most of the resources are going towards salaries for people who are doing absolutely, look, Rod Richmond added those regional superintendents. That was, those folks are getting paid, some of them getting paid over $200,000 a year.
Regional superintendents?
The regional superintendents, that was a model that George Ray had before, and it did not work. Okay, let's make that clear. Now, to his credit, he says he wants to kind of individualize the areas of the school district, putting the resources back close to the schools. Okay, that's not happening. I reached out to one regional superintendent about my children that goes to Hamilton High School. Have not heard from that regional superintendent yet. Because I got some issues over there at Hamilton. Nobody's reached out and contacted me about those issues I've had at Hamilton yet. Nobody. From the board member on down. Nobody.
So,
and as a constituent, that's my right.
Right.
And as a parent, that is my right.
Right. Well, I mean, anybody that lives in Memphis and Shelby County, it's their right to know that there's how many regional superintendents? How many? There
are 6.
6. Are any of these friends of Dr. I mean, are they buddies or friends or what?
I don't know too much about them or who was appointed as the regional superintendents. The one that's in the area of Hamilton High School, which is also the one that's over Melrose, because that is a special zone that was created for those schools, because those schools are now back in what they call I-zone status. Dr. Fagans has said those were superintendent schools when she was here. So me being a graduate of Hamilton and having very close ties with Melrose High School, that regional superintendent, whoever it shall be, I was told that she was somebody that was selected from out of town. She has experience in dealing with the I-zone model as far as that goes. So, but like I said, a parent had a concern on a district meeting that we had about the children walking in and out of the school when they got ready. You know, nobody stopping them, you know, things like that, you know. And I got on the same thread with that parent, and I told her, yeah, I'm having those issues too. So that regional superintendent told her to call her, but she failed to say anything to me. You know, it's a lot of personal things against me with this school board, because here's the deal. I wouldn't have had to sue the school board if they would have just left me alone. You know, I did nothing. There was no reason for them to even issue me an AOA. And I implore anybody within the list and within my listening ears to go read the transcripts from the school board 5 case. It was and what really got me the other night was the trauma that board member McKissick was talking about these children had been through. You don't know trauma till you go read those transcripts about what I testified that my kids went through during that school board 5 situation.
Well, I briefly looked at it, and it said something about, I mean, it said something in the paperwork or whatever that you had to move how many children from one district to another?
I had to, it really did. I really didn't move them. I had to completely withdraw them for the year.
Oh, wow.
Out of the school district. The only ones that were not removed was my 12th grader and my 8th grader, because they wanted to finish their school.
Right.
They wanted to finish their schools. And see, with my 11th grader, let me tell you how all this happened, Dean. And I'm trying not to get into the weeds of this, but it's important that the public knows.
Sure, bring it on.
It's important. I was harassed by security at both of at my nephew's promotional ceremony at Hamilton K-8 and my nephew's graduation from Craigmont High School. I was harassed by MSCS security. I was still being harassed by security. I'm still being harassed by the chief of security to this day. I'm still being harassed. Okay. So it's not my fault that you made up a story, Chief Carolyn Jackson, who cost the district $2 million with this lawsuit, because it was found in the case notes that I didn't do anything. You had to go interview a football team where I was at. I spoke at the school board that night, and I went to take my grandson to football practice. That's all that happened. That's all that happened. But you made it seem like I threatened the board. I even had board members call me on the phone, said Chief Jackson walked into that room and said, and tried to convince the board to say that I threatened them because I quoted Malcolm X. And I just didn't cite my quote. That's all they had on me. That's all. When they got the depositions from the football coaches and the team moms, they had to account for what my whereabouts were. Carolyn Jackson got on that stand in federal court and she lied. If you look at the transcripts from the school board 5 case, you will see that when they deposed the board members, the other 4, they were writing paragraphs on them. Everything they had did, everything that they didn't like, and everything else. If you go look at the depositions that they did on me, it was 1-word answer, 1-sentence answer, plead the 5th. So and now I still have some legal things going on with the district. Now we've turned over reports to the TBI on several board members because of conspiracy and retaliation for the school board 5 case. That's still going on.
Right.
And they're upset because I won the case. Well, we settled the case. Let me put it to you like that. We settled the case because somebody's going to come back around, and they're going to say, oh, well, he said y'all won the case. We settled the case. They didn't have a choice but to settle. I didn't do anything.
Right.
I said one quote. I said, either we're going to get it or we're going to take it. That's what I said. That's a direct quote from Malcolm X. I just didn't say. And if you see me speak at school board meetings after that, if I quote somebody, I'm going to cite my quote.
Right, right. Look, let me
just
ask you.
For that reason.
Let me ask you a question. Earlier, you said something about access. Okay, when leaders say every child has access, what does that actually mean for a kid whose parents don't have the time, money, or connections? What does that mean to you?
We have to right size this district. It's not going to be popular, but education has changed. Back when I was fighting against them closing schools back in the day, we didn't have a huge influx of charters. The children didn't have a huge educational options, but the population shift from the western part of Shelby County to the eastern part of Shelby County played a part in that. Now I was on board for we have to right size the district because there are schools that are not getting the resources that they need. And to your point, there are some parents who can't drive their child out to Cordova for a class. There are some people who can't get their child into White Station for a class because we have parents out here who are working too. And some people say that I'm not hard enough on parents. I am. But you have to understand some parents' situation because it's not all parents that are not doing right by their children. I've met so many parents who are frustrated. And I told the story today of a lady that I met at Fox Meadows and followed her child all the way through Hickory Ridge Elementary, all the way back to where through Colonial, where she had a problem. The woman was about to hold the school board hostage. Okay, we were at that meeting when she was, I met that lady years ago. I lost touch with her and I talked to her out in the parking lot about her son in a CLU class. You know, this shows the incompetency that we have, and we need some people with a backbone to call these things out. Now, I know what many people are going to say, oh, Damon Morris don't know the role of a school board member and everything, but we have to understand that role has now divulged. And understand this. That role has now divulged because of the people who have been sitting in those seats previously. Now, if we're going to be fair, we're going to say how we're going to get back to school board members actually doing their roles and holding the superintendent accountable for his staff and what they're doing. I'm tired of teachers telling me they're scared to speak up. I'm tired of parents who saying that they're getting stonewalled when they go to the district. I'm tired of people telling me time and time again, we're not getting no traction. They want y'all to lose hope. They want y'all to let it go and let the miseducation of the Shelby County child continue.
Right.
You know, and we have to get some strong school board members. You may not think I'm the strongest one. Okay. I was asked to run because teachers, parents, everything, you got to.
Right.
You know, because they say you're gonna be that voice. Some of your highly elected people in this district had told me, in this county, have told me, no, we need your voice on that school board.
Right.
And
go ahead.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, baby.
You brought up the fact, of transparency, and the other podcasts that I've had one with a gentleman that's running for sheriff, Brad Less, and I've had one with John Covington, who's running for District 1 for the Shelby County Commission. John is I say he's retired. He's retired MPD, and he's also the vice president of the Memphis Police Association. But I asked both of them because, I mean, whether you're a police officer, fireman, Shelby County Sheriff, Memphis City Council, any of those kind of positions, you're always going to have somebody that's afraid to say something if they see something, and it shouldn't be like that. There should be somebody that they can go to and find out, what can we do to, one, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but this is what I know, and how do we solve this without either stepping on toes, or if it's real egregious, what are the steps to get rid of the person that's causing all the problems for everybody else? I mean, you've got one or two people, you got, I don't know, however many board members that you're saying that are causing the issues, and I saw where the school board is. I think they were first going to sue the Shelby County Commission, and now they're suing the Shelby Election Commission over this deal that where the Shelby County Commission said that they all seats are going to go up for election in August, or primaries in May, and then in August general elections in August. And then a judge has put a temporary, I guess, hold on that for 5 particular seats. But the other ones, like your seat, is up for grabs.
So here's what I say to that. And we just had that conversation that I was down at the county commission. Not for myself, not because I had any personal grudge against the school board member. Right. Okay. It was because that's what the community asked me to do. That's what you're supposed to do as an elected official. Right. You have a fiduciary responsibility to your constituency. Right. Okay. And if they asked me to go down there and speak, they asked me to go down there and speak. Now, when I went down there to speak, I had just gotten out of jail. And do you see how the chairwoman of the Shelby County Commission did me? Cut my mic off. I could have sued for that if I felt like. and everything, and she was screaming and yelling. And see, when we're talking about fairness for all, when we're talking about throwing people up under the bus, see, I was taught, and I was raised in the Church of God in Christ.
Yes, sir.
I was taught that you do the right thing every time. My grandmother had a saying when my grandmother raised me. You'll hear me reference her a lot.
Yes, sir.
When she used to sit me down and she'll look me in my face and tell me, she said, if you're right and you're in your rights, I'll be 100% with you and I'm gonna fight with you. But if you're wrong, I'm gonna be the first person to call you out. She said, it's not no gray area between right and wrong. And when that happened that night, and I'm just giving examples, when that happened that night, people that I thought were my colleagues said nothing. But people that are not traditionally supposed to be my colleagues, they spoke up. Because you had a board member come right behind me, did the same thing I did. It was one sheriff's deputy that had some integrity when she cut my mic off and asked and tried to remove me from the meeting because I was yelling. I hadn't said anything derogatory towards anybody, anything like that, which are in the rules. I'm always going to operate in the rules. Okay? And the man stood there and he chose some integrity. He said he's not doing anything. He's not doing anything. But then you had a board member come right behind me and do the same thing. And somebody that wouldn't traditionally be my ally, they called it out.
Right.
Because it was the right thing to do.
Right.
Period. It's no gray area in between that. It was the right thing to do. Now you just, and that's what it said. I got on here and I said it. I said, so you admonished, and that's what the county commissioner said. You admonished that man for doing the same thing that board member just did, and you didn't say anything. And guess what? The board chair just got quiet. Didn't even answer. See, that's not integrity.
No.
That's not standing on integrity. That's not standing on integrity. That's not bashing anybody. That's not anything. It is a right way to do stuff, and it is a wrong way to do stuff. And we have to get back into the culture of right versus wrong.
Right. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this saying before. There's rules for thee, but not for me.
Exactly. So, and as I say, and I got the whole county of Shelby saying in that order.
Right.
So what we have to understand going into this, into these races, I say this to people: these school board races are more important, I think, than the mayor's race. Moving forward, because as we talked about off camera, the 90%. I'm 90% sure that the state is coming in with this intervention.
Right.
If you set a managing board down with this school board as it sits right now, you're not going to get anything done. You're not going to get anything done. It's going to be a constant battle. It's going to be legal battles, legal challenges, all kind of stuff. And where does that leave the children? That's the reason why I advocated so hard for Tory Harris's bill that he had passed through the state legislature. Let's talk about that judge. That judge should have recused herself from the case. Point blank, period. Okay? And everybody was like, well, we won and they had a rah-rah session and everything like that. They said it was unconstitutional. She did not say that. She was very careful and meticulous not to rule anything that would trigger the state. Okay, let's be clear about that ruling. Okay. Because I said when it first said it was going to court, I said I'm particularly interested in how that judge is going to rule on the constitutionality of the seat. Because first of all, you would have to sue the state in that regard. Okay, and then she said that the county commission misunderstood the state law, and then we had a county commissioner put the language of the bill up there, and it was nowhere that she had put in her ruling that said it was an option. See, you have, once again, to your point of transparency, you have to be very transparent with people, because this community is starting to see the corruption that is running all the way through our government.
Oh yeah, I mean, from the school board, Memphis City Council, Shelby County Commission. I mean, it's everywhere. And you made you alluded to earlier to those district superintendents. I mean, are they necessary?
I don't believe they are.
I mean, at $200,000 per,
it's in that range.
I'm in the wrong damn business.
It's in that range, and that it's unnecessary. All that is the same thing that George Ray did. So if something pops off in that region, Rod Richmond doesn't have to take the brunt of that. Okay.
Okay.
Somebody asked me the other day, what is the difference, in your opinion? This is my opinion, between Dr. Marie Fagans and Dr. Rod Richmond. I gave them one word, Dean. I said accessibility. Let's make it clear. Everybody say, oh, you're a fan of Dr. Fagans. I'm a fan of Dr. Fagans because I saw her work as the superintendent of schools.
Right.
We're not talking about this mayoral race.
Right. No, we're talking about her as a.
When she came in, she saw a need. She saw the need for the children. I saw her change cultures at individual schools that had been plagued for years. Now, you want board member McKissick to talk about trauma. When they fired that lady, what kind of trauma was that?
Right. I mean, look.
What kind of trauma did y'all bring? And when I walked those schools after Fagans left this district, when I walked those schools, Dean, I told the whole community they have snatched a soul. Those kids had hope. I just want anybody to go spend a day in Hamilton High School. And I charge everybody to do that. Go spend a day in Hamilton High School. With that being my alma mater, with 10 generations of my family to come through that school, it is heartbreaking. It will make you cry. Those kids have no hope.
I mean, everybody saw it. Everybody saw it when she came to town. She hit the ground running. I mean, there were reports of her going to individual students' houses and knocking on the doors and finding out where the kids were. She wanted those kids in school to learn. I mean,
and did you look at the numbers? Attendance increased in the district under her administration.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now attendance has decreased again under this administration. You have students like I'm gonna say it again. Go spend a day in Hamilton High School. See, don't announce when you're coming so they can get everything together. Go spend a day in there. And I was in there before the Hamilton Melrose game. I was in Hamilton High School waiting on a teacher for a T-shirt I had purchased. And I just sat in the main office. Let me tell you something. I used to work at 201 Poplar on an internship. I used to be a clerk down in Judge Joe Brown's office. Courtroom. That office, I saw students walking in and out with paperwork, in and out, booking and processing. They're introducing a jail environment.
Right.
That school is ran like a jail. And I add more to it before I take it back. booking and processing. Do you understand that board suspensions decreased under Dr. Fagans? Now they're back up. Okay, Dr. Fagans had a plan. The plan was all board suspensions have to come through her, and she's going to look at each one of them individually. Well,
I mean, as the leader of that particular deal, shouldn't it? I mean, that's what should happen in any type
of. So what has happened? So what? My question to you, Dean, what has happened?
What's happened?
Yeah.
I mean, you just explained it a minute ago. The kids are losing. They're losing. We're losing kids. We're losing kids to the streets, and we're losing kids out of school, and kids can't. I mean, before she came in, kids were reading at like a third grade level, third grade level.
No, they wasn't even on that level, but.
But I mean, and she comes in, and she's like this ray of sunshine that moved all these dark clouds out of the way. Parents loved her, teachers loved her, students loved her. I mean, she went to, I don't know how many schools she went to, but I mean, I saw the videos of her interacting with the kids and the teachers and having a good time with them. I mean, so she was fully involved.
Let me give you two examples. I'm going to give you two examples that I didn't compile upon when they asked me about Dr. Fagans and Dr. Richmond. Okay?
Okay.
Hamilton High School. I had been lobbying, trying to get Hamilton High School new band instruments for 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
I had almost given up trying to get anything for Hamilton.
Right.
I said, well, I met Dr. Fagan. She seemed to be on the level. I said, let me just make an ask.
Yeah, because the answer's always no if you don't ask.
And I asked her, and when I tell you instantaneously, it happened.
Wow.
And not only did I get band instruments for Hamilton, I actually got band instruments for Central High School, a high school I don't even have ties with. And we see how that turned out at Central.
Right.
So it's not just about my district. It's about this district as a whole. I'm going to be one vote. But I want to work with other board members to see if we can come up with, and with the superintendent, a comprehensive plan.
Yes, sir.
For all students. That's what access means. Board Chair Natalie McKinney asked me, what do I mean when I mean access? That's what access means to me. Because I met a student in District 9, goes to Overton High School, that lives in Boxtown, has to catch a bus 4:30 in the morning just to get to Overton High School because he wants to graduate in programming. You know, Overton High School is one of the only performing arts schools that we have in MSCS.
Okay.
So I met him working at Popeye's Chicken, and he says, I'm just trying to make it to June. I'm just trying to make it to June. He says, it's a hardship on my mom. I have to get up and catch a bus at 4:30 in the morning. We know how matter is. We're not going to get into that. You know, just to get over to Overton for programming so he will have the tools equipped for his aspirations and what he wants to do when he leaves school. You know, so those are the stories. And let me go to the other side of it. The difference between Dr. Fagans and Dr. Richmond. That Sheffield High School situation. With Sheffield High Schools in District 9. I taught at Sheffield High School. Okay?
Yes, sir.
I didn't get involved in that. I didn't walk over there. I didn't say, well, hey, let me see what's going on at Sheffield today. I received a phone call, Dean, from that young lady that started the protest and everything. And one thing people are going to learn about me, I'm about policy, procedure. I'm going to do things decent and in order. Okay. Yes, the young lady called me on the phone. They told her to call me. They said, and I talked to her on the phone. I said, yes. And she said, well, they told me to reach out to you. I want to do something about this principal we got over here. These are the conditions of our school at this time. I said, okay. I said, how old are you? She said, well, I'm finna be 18. I said, you're not 18 yet. Let me talk to your mom.
Oh, okay.
And I talked to her mother. We got on the phone, and she asked me what course of action that we wanted to take. See, here's what people didn't see before the cameras got out there, Dean. I sent the team over there to Sheffield to see what was going on. The parents wanted a meeting with the principal. Okay. When and then did it hit the news? Now we want to have this big meeting. They finna bring Rod Richmond in. We finna have this big meeting and everything like that. But see, people don't see the calm before the storm.
Right.
Okay. And we walked in there and Dr. Richmond literally threatened the students. If you walk out this school, I'm going to suspend each and every one of you. They had it on camera. Second violation of his ethics, but it's convenient they took an ethics clause out of his interim contract. Okay. So.
Oh my God.
Which, if you look at the board policy, the first time when he said "Don't play with me," and he was talking to a parent in that school district, the policy calls for his immediate termination.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That's the reason why I was drugged out of the school board, because I bought that policy up. See, we got to have a school board with accountability. And one of the things that I plan to do if I'm elected is I'm going to draw up a resolution that we take our ethics out of the board's hands. We need an ethics committee that has no ties to that school board. That ethics committee, in my opinion, needs to be made up of teachers, parents, and community leaders that has a stake in education.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
that will show the state. That will show the state that we're trying to issue in some sort of accountability.
Right. Well, yeah.
As what we're doing as board members. Go ahead.
Right. No, you're fine. You're fine. You're all fired up. That's fine. I mean, you're passionate about what you're doing, and that's. More people need to have a fire lit under them. But I mean, yeah, a civilian ethics committee just made up of, almost like a parent-teacher student a parent-teacher conference type thing, but like what you said, made up of the community leaders and parents, because they're the ones that see their children when they come home from school and notice whether everything's okay or whether there's something off. And it's if the parents are seeing something that's off, they need to be able to go to yourself or somebody. They've got to have, like you said, transparency, and they've got to have a resource to go to so they can voice their whatever it's voice the problems that are going on.
And that's one thing that we've been cut out of. You can call the board on any given day, Dean, and I have, because I kind of had a spat with board member Tamarcus Porter about this intervention, and he assumed that I had failed as a parent. That's what everybody was saying on the thing. I said, but you didn't know, and I texted him personally. I said, I went through all those avenues to Marcus. So I said, I don't understand where your rhetoric is coming from. I said, you know that I've called. I said, I'm waiting. Let me say one thing people kept on saying to me about this seed office that Dr. Fagans got rid of. I talked to Kevin Malone about Dr. Barbara Beloche when she told a parent who took her child out of MSCS and sent him somewhere because she was having so much trouble with her special needs child. Dr. Barbara Beloche told this woman, you need to watch who you have represent you. See, that's the kind of rhetoric we don't need. I called Kevin Malone and I asked him, I said, well, you need to get a handle on your employees because she's defaming my character. And, you know, he went into this whole spiel about how parents will lie and, you know, all of these other things. I said, but you're not holding your employee accountable.
Right.
For what she said. Did you ask her? Do we need to have a meeting? He told me that we were going to have a meeting. He was going to set up a meeting. I haven't heard from Kevin Malone in 2 years.
All righty then. Hey,
okay.
There was a if you look at the chat, if you look down at the chat, Kristen New had another thing she said, so I have to go back to she has to go back to the money. I got to put my glasses on to read this. And my glasses need some anti-reflection. But it says, I have to go back to the money. The board is passing bloated budgets. The superintendent wouldn't have the money to hire $200,000 positions if he didn't have the money in the budget. Why is the board giving him the money? Or is she off base on this?
The board needs to push back on that budget. If you read that budget line by line instead of backdoor deals and everything that's going on, they look just like. Let's take this example of this cleaning contract that they just passed.
Okay.
That was shrouded by controversy. Okay, because allegedly, the board member, the board chair went and had a secret meeting with the person that's over ABM, and came back to the board and said, hey, we're going to pass this $7 million contract. Now, here's what I would have done and suggested to the school board. And this is coming from some of the people who are actually working in the district. Okay, these kids' schools hadn't been cleaned. The teachers in there cleaning up vomit and everything like that. Why not give ABM that contract all the way up through budget season, and then you open it back up for bid? Not give them a three-year contract, which I would have to agree with board member Murphy. You know, they were fired from several other school districts. Their performance rating is low. So just to finish out the school year, give them a contract to the end of the school year, not a 3-year contract. And then you open the contract up for bid.
Right.
You can open the contract up for bid while they're on that 6-month contract.
Right.
And then you get another cleaning crew to come in right behind them once that contract is approved. Why wasn't that proposal sent to the board instead of the urgency of getting this company this contract for 3 years? I would have never voted on that as a school board member. My vote for that would have been no. Absolutely not.
Well, if there's you hire a company, surely people can see what's going on. But if they got a substandard rating before you ever hire them to begin with, like you said, why would you give them a 3-year contract? Hell, give them a 6-month contract, see how they do. If they don't work out, you're out of the contract and you get somebody else while you're looking at how bad they're doing things.
And Dean, it just shows that this board, and I'm quoting a community member, so let me cite my quote, is bought and paid for.
There's a lot of that going on.
They're not in the interest of what's best for this community, what's best for teachers, what's best for the students of Memphis and Shelby County. And I'm gonna give you another example. I was invited by a high profile pastor to go and see what they were talking about at the merger of Chickasaw and Westwood. Okay. I sat there, just listened to the spiel and everything else. How does me asking one question? See, this shows the goals to that people have some personal things against me in that district.
Right.
Okay. I asked this question. I said, with the abundance of educational options that we have coming to Shelby County, the vouchers, the charter schools, how are you sure that 350, whatever it was, students are coming over here to Westwood? I said, it sounds good on paper because they went through all the spills. Well, if we got this certain number of utilization rate of this school, we will have, your children will be able to have this. Your children will be able to have that. Your children will be able to have all of these things that they've never had before.
Right.
Okay. And some people say I was being generous, Dean. I said, okay, so out of that 350 something, what if 250 goes over to the school? So what are those numbers going to look like? I said, have we projected the potential enrollment loss? Because see, that goes to my experience too. I worked at a K-12. Okay. And when they closed that high school up, their school slowly declined to the point where it almost closed. The only thing that saved Treadwell Elementary School from closing was that dual language immersion program because it was a state grant.
Okay.
So we have to understand when I asked that question, here's the response that came from Angela Whitelaw. Well, I just told this whole audience, you can transfer your child to John P. Freeman. You can transfer them to Havenview. You can transfer them to A. Walker. The transporter opens on this thing. I said, that didn't answer my question. But what you're saying to me is personal because you're selling these people essentially a pipe dream. And I talked to Dr. Richmond about it. Right. You're selling these people a pipe dream. Because we're trying to do and that's what I said on the news, long range planning. We cannot afford to kick anything else down the road in this school district moving forward. We can't do that. That's not going to what's be in the best interest of children.
No, and we can't hammer that enough on this, that everything we do is for the children. And you know, I'll say it again. If you live in Memphis and Shelby County, you have a stake in this. I mean, it's all about the kids. I mean, I wish you luck in all this. I really do. I do. I mean, you have got one hell of a fight coming. Okay. And and you've been fighting big time.
I'm in for it, Dean, for the children.
Right.
That's my whole focus. Well, I just told somebody at a candidate event this weekend. I just told somebody, Dean, I said I had a revelation come over me when I was at a youth, and I want to give a shout out to Youth Minds United, Jonathan and Jordan and Jazz, who's over their organization, who the youth feel that the school board is not listening to them, and even they said after the vote from Dr. Richmond, they were very disheartened. Right. You know, that they would appoint Dr. Richmond, you know, as superintendent of schools. And I'm reading some of your comments down here while you're working. And, you know, they were talking about the fraternities and the sororities and all of these things that are going on. Let me explain to you all. There are some pockets, and I have to be transparent because I belong to a fraternity too. Okay. But I still stand on integrity. My fraternity brothers that I work with, they will hold me accountable in a minute. I'm not doing no favors for anybody.
Right.
I have one fraternity brother right now. He'll tell me if I'm doing something wrong, you better let me know. And I tell him the same thing. If I'm doing something wrong, you're gonna let me know.
Right.
So I understand the circle. Let me make that clear. I understand the circle.
Yes, sir.
You understand? But one thing about me, I'm unbought and unbossed. And nobody can sway me away from a child because I have 5 grandchildren, which 3 of them are in Memphis Shelby County schools. I have one that's in a charter and one that don't even live here in Memphis.
Okay.
And I hope her mother doesn't come back here. So I'm just, that's how serious I am about providing that future for them, because we have to have educational options and access for all. It's not going to happen overnight. I want to make everybody that's listening to this understand that. But we have to have the right people in the right places to move this in the right direction. Because as that school board sits right now, we can still see there's dissension in the ranks. They're trying to smooth everything over, say, oh, well, we're united. You all are not united. They are not united. And I promise you, Dean, they are not united. And moving forward, even if I'm not successful in this race, I will say this: I'm gonna keep on fighting. I've been fighting. I've been fighting for the last 30 years in this district. Even when I was part of the district, I risked my job fighting for this district. You know, and even when I was a part of the union, because I'm a union man, I love union all day long. Union strong all day long. I love unions. Even when I was part of the union, my union reps told me, well, you better be quiet, because if you buck them, they're going to make things worse on you. That's something that you never tell somebody that's trying to do the right thing.
Right, right.
You know, and that was so disheartening to me, you know, and I've seen teachers quit. I just had a meeting in Jackson, Tennessee, because I had to have the meeting in Jackson, Tennessee, with several MSCS teachers, administrators, and a principal. Who they was like, we support you 101%, but here's the deal. We can't say anything publicly because there's been an interdepartmental memo, which I've seen with my own eyes, that says if you don't carry the ideals of this superintendent, then you will be, quote unquote, dealt with in the appropriate manner. Wow. I have seen that memo. Now, the district will tell you all day long that memo didn't go out. I saw it with my own 2 eyes, Dean.
Did you get a snap? Did you get a screenshot of it?
I did not, but I promised those administrators I would not release it.
I don't blame you.
I also was told that there's a team, when the audit started, there's a team behind the scenes that's trying to research. We're spending district resources. The superintendent has a team that's trying to see who's sending the state legislative stuff up in Nashville.
Whistleblowers. See, that's what I was talking about the whistleblowers, about people that see stuff going on and they have nobody to go to say anything about. They're worried about their job, because if they blow the whistle and get caught, they're gone.
And they're going to find something. Look, I had somebody in HR when I was working for the district. I had somebody in HR told me, oh, we want to get rid of you. We'll find something to get rid of you on. And I've heard the stories of several teachers that have been done like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I've read case laws where teachers have taken their wrongful terminations all the way to the state Supreme Court.
Yeah.
You know, resources and things of that nature being wasted on frivolous things. And then we got students inboxing me, asking me about resources for their CCTE classes that they don't have.
Hmm. Well, Damon,
This CSI program that was put in Hamilton High School, which my student is supposed to be benefiting from, which it's not what it was said it was going to be. Things of that nature.
What was it? What was it? What kind of program?
CSI.
CSI?
It was. Mm-hmm.
That's not crime scene investigation, is it?
Yes.
Oh, really? Wow.
It was a program
that's an interesting field.
It was all on the news.
Wow.
When I looked at my nephew's schedule, I said, okay, they're going to put him in this class. And then I asked him about the class, and he was like, we really don't do much in there. You had one of the organizers of Youth Minds United who has to go to project graduation over there at Hamilton High School. And she got on the Facebook Live and said how her experience was inside of there. She said it's too disruptive.
Sounds like you hear a lot. Sounds like you hear a lot there, Damon.
Dude, I wish I could show you my inbox. I wish I could.
Well, look,
I wish I could show it.
Let these people know where they can find you, and if they can find you, if you need more signatures on your, petition or whatever, where they can find you, where they can donate to, this, that, and the other for your campaign, and give us all your socials.
Okay, so you can reach out to me on my Facebook page at Damon Curry Morris. Look it up. My name is the same on all three streaming platforms, Instagram and TikTok. I'm not on Instagram or TikTok too much. My nephew's trying to change that. My first scheduled tentative campaign event, meet and greet. Let's come and talk about education. It's going to be at the Sandwich Spot right here on Park Avenue on March the 6th. We're going to be there. I just want to talk to the community. My petition has been signed, has been filed. I'm officially a candidate. I'll give you all more information about donating to the campaign, because I know it's a lot of teachers that want to donate to the campaign. They say, we can't come to some of your events. I said, I know how the district works, y'all. I can tell y'all stories.
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, and it was the perfect time to start this podcast, because with campaign season, voting season, if you want to call it a season, but because I don't charge anybody to do this, you get free exposure. Come on, state your case. Talk about what your ideals are and what you're thinking you want to do and what you're going to try to do if you win that seat. And that's I posted it on the Next Is Now page. I don't care if you've got an RD or an I next to your name. If you want free publicity, come on the show and I'll host you.
And Dean, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you reaching out to me.
Yes,
because I'm passionate about this. I said, win, lose, or draw. This is not about politics for me. And I've had several people that is in my race right now playing politics. I'm not. This is not my when I went through, and the reason why I know so much about, and I just want to say this to my disabled community and my disabled students. I went through a period of disability, and I'm still a fully disabled person. I'm kidney failure patient. I received a transplant on February the 21st, 2021, right after the pandemic, when I wasn't supposed to get a transplant because I had a bout with cancer.
Okay.
I know what it is. And reason why that bothered me so bad, when that teacher called me today and told me, about the functional skills class, that bothered me really bad.
Yes, sir.
So I want to get this out as far as, it doesn't matter what kind of health challenges you have or anything else. We're all human beings.
Yes, sir.
In that regard. Okay. Whether whatever your ethnicity is or anything like that, I'm going to be the board member for all.
Yes,
okay, I am where the children reside. Okay, you can reach out to me. And my phone number is one of the most public phone numbers in Memphis, 901-649-5827. That's 901-649-5827. I have nothing to hide. I have no aspirations. When I got my kidney transplant, my children was telling me, go on and enjoy the rest of your life. God gave you a second chance. Go enjoy the rest of your life. And I looked at myself yesterday and I said, how did I get back all into this mess? My plan was to go work for my party. I'm a Democrat.
Yes, sir.
Go work for my party, get into my party. I didn't have any intentions on running.
Right.
Do you know the number of teachers that called me? You got to run. The children was calling me. Mr. Morris, you have to run. Professor, you have to run. We need you on that school board. And if y'all need on that school board, you want something different, you're going to do something different. And
that sounds good.
And a vote for Damon Curry Morris for Memphis Shelby County School Board District 9 is a vote for the future of your student. In that order. Wow.
Very well said, sir. I appreciate you coming on, man. It's been a great night. You provide a lot of good information and a little bit of entertainment. You know, that's always fun. And,
yes, it is.
But I do wish you the best. You're very passionate about what you're doing. So, again, I thank you for coming on the show. Tell everybody one more time if you want to give your phone number out again or whatever, if they didn't hear it, or if your Facebook page, Damon Curry Morris, is your personal Facebook page, correct?
Yes, Damon Curry Morris is my personal Facebook page. We will be setting up another Facebook page for people that support the campaign. We're also going to be coming out with a website very soon, so just check my socials. Also, I'm on Instagram, Damon Curry Morris. I'm on TikTok, Damon Curry Morris. We're going to be trying to go through all channels, but I really want to get out in the community to just meet people face to face. So I've already been doing it. We're talking about education. We're talking about the Tennessee State Legislature. We're talking about all of these things, and everybody's talking about how knowledgeable I am. I want to just say this final thing. My number again is 901-649-5827. I'm always down for a conversation. I'm a trained diplomat. I'm always down for a conversation. So once again, I'm going to say it throughout this whole campaign. You want different, you're going to do different. You know, regardless of your personal feelings, who is best for the job? Who's been doing the work? Who's been down at those meetings? Not just showing up this year.
Right.
Because I've been at these meetings long before. It wasn't my intent to ever run for office again. Make sure that we make that clear. That was not my intent. But my intent is to get in this office, serve 2 terms, and I'm going to try to groom someone younger. I already got a couple of people in mind to come behind me and continue the work that I was doing while on this school board if I'm successful in this race. And that's what it's all about, because we have to build Memphis back from the ashes now. We have to build Shelby County back from the ashes. And just like Malcolm X says, you can legislate goodwill, but everything comes through an education.
Well, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. You have a great evening. Yes, sir.
And
you as well.
Thank y'all for listening to this old professor ramble for the last 2 hours.
I appreciate it. Oh yeah, well, I mean, we had a pretty decent crowd. I think at one time it was about 17 or 18 people watching, and it's on Facebook Live and over on Rumble as well. So it's on both of my Facebook pages. The Off the Cuff on the Bluff, which is OTC OTB Memphis page, is the official page or whatever for the podcast. So they're eventually just going to drop over there, and then I'll have them on YouTube and Rumble. So, folks, thank you so much. Damon, Thank you so much. You have a good evening.
All right. You do the same. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Take care. Well, there you have it. There you have it. He's a very passionate man. He's a very passionate man, and he wants what's best for the children. And as we can see, and as he said, there's a lot of bloat in the MSCS, a lot of bloat. So there's a lot of bloat in all of any kind of politics. So I appreciate y'all watching this evening, and until the next time, next Monday evening, we're going to have a very special guest, a gubernatorial candidate, Monty Fritz. So show up for that one. It's going to be a good one. Y'all have a good evening.